What's up, guys? Artem MMA Analysis here. Going to be talking about Dana White's Contender Series 2022, week number 7. And if you guys don't know me by now, you know that I love Dana White's Contender Series and I love this card. This card is amazing. This might be the most stacked on paper card that you've ever got, that you're ever going to see on Dana White's Contender Series. This is actually crazy. So, I'm just going to quickly go through the card and then we're going to talk about last week. It might be a long intro, I apologize, but this card, it's worth it. It is so worth it. In the first fight, you got Theresa taking on Nayara Maia. Theresa is a really good young prospect, and I'm going to talk about her obviously very soon, but man, she's got a really good, underrated win on her record that I will mention. Ismail Bontemps versus Nariman Avasov. I have never researched a Dana White's Contender Series fight more than this one. Ismail Bontemps 17-3, Nariman Avasov 28-3. Why did these guys not get signed straight to the UFC? I feel like whoever loses this one could definitely get picked up by a big organization. It doesn't make sense that they didn't just sign them and then maybe have them debut against each other, maybe, if that's the matchup they wanted, but they're on the Contender Series. Who knows why? But Jimmy Lawson 4-1 taking on Kevin Slavich. Jimmy Lawson is a D1 wrestler, but this guy, most of his wins are inside like the first minute by KO, so we don't see that much. Gabriel Bontemps, the younger brother of Ismail Bontemps, undefeated, taking on short notice replacement and Trey, who had a really great fight in his last one. Hadolfo Bellato versus Vito Petrini. This is a rematch on Dana White's Contender Series. It's crazy. So Vito Petrini actually knocked out Hadolfo Bellato in his debut, and now they rematch so many years and months later on the Contender Series for a contract. This is some crazy stuff, and even now I'm not 100% sure who's going to win that fight. It's not as black and white as the guy who originally won is going to end up winning again, but we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about this last week's card. It was great. I went 3-2, but I went 0-2 in the first two fights, and I was watching these fights and I was looking at the results and I was like, man, it's going to be another week 5. I went terrible. I had terrible week 5, but we've turned it around a little bit somewhat. 3-2 on the card. I picked Alex Morgan to win. He looked alright on the feet, but Blake Builder, his grappling was on another level in that fight. It really was, and he looked great. And then I picked Maria Silva. Maria Silva didn't look great at all, and Victoria Dudakova, although injured, looked great. So good for her, but Mateusz Rebecki, this guy had not got one by submission since 2017, and I was like, man, Mateusz Rebecki is going to win by submission because Lidio can crack on the feet, and that's exactly what happened. Lidio almost cracked him on the feet early on to the fight, and Rebecki got the takedowns pretty easily because Lidio's defense ain't that great. Let's be real. Cedric Dumas. I was watching these fights and I was like, man, I'm really relying on an underdog to pull through for me because Cedric Dumas was my underdog pick of the night. I picked Dumas to win, and he got it done pretty quickly. And I know the fight didn't last very long at all, so it's pretty hard to have a good read of both guys' skill sets. But I think Penaz and Dumas both looked pretty good. I mean, it was only 47 seconds, but Dumas obviously got the finish and looked great doing it. I think this guy's such a likable style. I said that he's got cool tattoos. I said that he's got a cool personality, and he does. Yusaku Kinoshita versus Jose Henrique, pretty competitive bout until the end of the fight. Kinoshita is a savage. He's a savage, man, and Dana White said that he could be a Japanese star. This guy really could become a star out of Japan. He's so young, and he's got KO power. He's literally a savage. I think this guy could do great things. He's injured though, so unfortunately he may not debut for a while to come. But I really am excited to see Kinoshita's career going forward. I'm also excited to see Rebecki's career going forward. This guy's 16-1. But yeah, let's move on, man. That was a very, very long intro, 4 minutes long. I apologize it was so long, but I just had to bring those up. It was a great card, and let's just start with the fight. And now on the first fight of the night, you've got Theresa taking on Nayara Maia, and it is little known that Theresa, when she was 18 years old, she defeated Lucy Pudilova in the comeback fight for Lucy Pudilova. So Pudilova got released from the UFC for the first time, and she fought the amateur in Theresa when she was a professional, so it's an exhibition MMA fight, but she defeated Lucy Pudilova when she was 18 years old. Since then, Lucy Pudilova has gone on a run and has made it into the UFC, got a win on a main card of a pay-per-view, and Theresa has just been working her record up, building her name. This girl is 20 years old, by the way, and she's already defeating prospects. She was 2-0 when she defeated a girl that was 7-3. She was 4-0 when she beat a girl that in the first round that was 9-1. Theresa Blader, maybe 5-0, but this girl does have a good amateur background. She's got a few wins in exhibition fights as well. She's pretty big for the weight class as well. She's 5'9" at flyweight compared to her opponent who is 5'5" at flyweight, who's good too. We'll get to her too, but man, I'm hyped for Theresa Blader. I think that this girl could really move on and do some pretty big things in the sport because she's 20 years old. There's a ton of potential there. She's already proven that she can beat some really good regional competition, and she's taking on Nayara Maia, who's 7-0. Great record, but in my opinion, she just does not have the same skill set as what Theresa Blader brings to the table. So Theresa Blader, she's a grappler for sure. Both girls are grapplers, really. But Theresa Blader really brings it. You know, this girl's a finisher. She's got a couple of finishes on her career, four of them of which, two of them by submission, two of them by ground and pound. So she can finish the fight by ground and pound. She can finish the fight by submission. Her wrestling is probably her strong suit. I think she's got really good wrestling. But she has slowed down in the past if the fight does especially reach the third round. She does have one decision win in 2021 when she did slow down a little bit in the third round, which maybe could be a question mark. But I do think that she should be able to defeat Nayara Maia here. Nayara Maia, I haven't even talked to her about her yet whatsoever. But this girl, in my opinion, I don't think that her takedown defense is the greatest. But to be fair, she does have good jiu-jitsu, and even if she is in a pretty bad position, she can work her way out of it using the jiu-jitsu. But her striking ain't that great either. I mean, Theresa Blader, for the most part, you don't really know what her striking is because this girl does shoot for takedowns. I mean, you don't really get a 1 minute 49 ground and pound TKO win without shooting for a takedown pretty early on into the fight. But Maia's striking hasn't impressed me too much, but I don't think we're going to see much striking in this matchup. You don't really see a lot of striking in a lot of women's MMA matchups anyway. I think wouldn't be like a bad points to make, but I think that Blader is the better grappler out of the two, and I think this fight is just going to take place in grappling, and I think that Blader is going to be able to defeat Nayara Maia here. She does, as I say, have great wrestling. She's got great takedowns, and I think she'll take Maia down pretty easily because I don't think she's got the best takedown defense, and then probably just take her down again and just keep working away until she eventually finds a finish. I really do think that Theresa Blader is going to find a finish in this fight here. It may not happen in the first round like some of her previous finishes have been because Nayara Maia is a pretty good test, but I think that Theresa Blader runs away with this one here. Red flags though, I am terrible at predicting women's MMA. I will say that right now. Terrible, but Theresa Blader is just a prospect, man. This girl's, I think she's something special. She's 20 years old, man. She's already crazy good. I think that Blader gets a finish in this fight. I don't predict a lot of finishes in women's MMA fights. I did predict a finish in the Silver fight, I think, and that was a really bad prediction. But anyway, I think that Theresa Blader should be able to dominate this fight anyway. She's great, and I think that she should get it done. And now we move on. We've got Ismail Bontemps taking on Nariman Abasov. Just warning you guys, this is going to be a pretty long breakdown. I've got a lot to talk about. I mean, these are two guys with so much film on them, so much information to discuss. Ismail Bontemps is 17-3. Nariman Abasov is 28-3. Why are they on Dana White's Contender Series? And then even then, why are they not the main event? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I am maybe going to surprise you with the pick, but I think I'm going to be able to prove it a little bit with what I'm going to say. But I'm picking Ismail Bontemps to get the win. I think that Ismail Bontemps beats Nariman Abasov in this fight here, and I'll be talking about it in the future, obviously. But Abasov, man, massive favourite on Tapology. I'm really interested to know what the odds are going to be. But yeah, by the way, I'm going to be showing a little bit of fight tape from Nariman Abasov in this video too, but Ismail Bontemps is 17-3. Three of his losses, he lost to Adriano Moraes, who recently just fought on Oh, let me have a look. Oh, against Demetrius Johnson on one on Prime Video. That's the level of competition he fought early on in his career, albeit it was in 2011, but still, it didn't age that badly, did it? Voice crack. Oh, I love my voice cracks. They add so much character to my video, not. But anyway, Renato Moicano defeated him in 2014, and then Renato Moicano has gone on to go on a pretty good run. But Ismael Bonfim has gone on to be a pretty good fighter as well. He defeated two really good guys in his last fight, 12-2. And then 10-1, 19-9 before that as well. But prior to that, he wasn't really beating the best levels of competition. Let's be open and honest here. But Nariman Abasov, this guy has been fighting good competition. He last defeated a guy that was 32-4. He defeated a guy that was 40-6. Question mark. He defeated a guy that was 4-1 when he was 25-3. And there's another question mark, a few question marks on the record, but for the most part, you really do have to respect the fact this is not a super padded record. This guy has been fighting somewhat decent competition, especially recently, and I will be showing this fight against the 32-4 Marif Parayev when I give the breakdown of this fight. Now, I think it's definitely worth noting that Abasov, he's got a very weird style. Like, he does wrestle a bit, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to take down Bonfim, who has incredible takedown defense. This guy only throws overhands and hooks. It's literally all he throws, and I don't know if you guys would have believed me if I said that, unless I showed you some tape. So shout out to Azerbaijan fighters for this. There's a chance that this might get blocked or striked for some reason, just letting you guys know, but I will be playing some fights from the fight from this card, and look, this is all he throws, is overhands. He just spams overhands. He does throw a lot of uppercuts as well. We'll skip the grappling transition, as I do want to just talk about the striking of Abasov, sorry, because then we're going to talk about the striking of Bonfim, because Bonfim's striking... See, this is what I mean. Like, all he's throwing is overhands. He's throwing hooks. It's great for a brawler, like, which is what he likes to do. He likes to brawl. He likes to brawl with his opponents. But I don't think it's gonna be enough to defeat a guy like Ismael Bonfim. When I talk about Ismael Bonfim striking, this guy's striking is nice. He went 24-3 as an amateur, and then he went 4-1 as a pro boxer. 24-3 pro amateur, sorry, 24-3 amateur boxer, should I add? But yeah, the striking of Abasov really surprised me. I started watching this guy. I will be open and honest. I don't know how I missed him, but I didn't know who this guy was at 28-3. But all he throws is overhands and uppercuts and hooks. I was very surprised at what I was seeing. I couldn't really believe the striking. You know what I mean? And this is genuinely what happens. And I think that Bonfim, his striking is going to be technical enough to be able to defeat a guy like Abasov. I know there's a lot of clinching in this fight. Both guys are really initiating a lot of clinches, which maybe could lead to a win for Abasov. He does look to utilize the clinch. But I think that if you watch some Ismael Bonfim tape, there's a bit on the UFC Fight Pass because he's fought on LFA. This guy's kickboxing is very, very technical and very slick. And I don't believe he's going to get drawn into a brawl against Nariman Abasov. And I genuinely think that on the feet, Bonfim's got the fight. I really don't believe that he's going to get caught by these overhands, and that's another thing that Abasov does. He misses a lot of punches. Like, yes, he's actually beaten up his opponent pretty bad here, but he misses a lot of shots. Like, a lot of these shots that he's throwing aren't landing, and he does slow down quite a bit towards the end of the fight. I think in this one, the opponent quits on the stall, or there was some sort of corner stoppage in the second round. But it's a crazy fight. It's a pretty cool fight. Like, both guys are brawling. Both guys are seemingly somewhat tired in the second round. I don't really know, but Abasov's definitely getting the better of his opponent here. 32-4, might I add, great record, and it's not even the most super padded record, but now he's just teeing off on his opponent. But this is what I mean. When he's punching, he's leaving that chin wide open, and I think like a guy that's throwing a lot of straight punches like Ismael Bonfim is going to be able to take advantage of that and get the win. Like, when I saw this at first, I was like, man, Nariman Abasov, 28-3 record, there's no way this guy loses, you know? But I started watching some Nariman Abasov fights, and I'm a little bit skeptical about... I'm just a little bit skeptical about the striking. I love Ismael Bonfim's striking. I love Ismael Bonfim's jiu-jitsu as well. I haven't even started talking about the grappling yet in this sort of fights, but even then, like, Nurmagomedov's takedown defense ain't the greatest. We saw him get taken down from some very sloppy takedowns just in that fight tape as well, a couple of times, or I think at least once anyway. I think Bontemps is the much more technical fighter. He's got great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's got great technical striking as well. And Nurmagomedov, as I said, all he's doing is throwing overhands. Maybe he can catch Bontemps with something like that. But I don't think that you can beat a very, very technical striker like Bontemps with that kind of style. And I think that this has been a very long breakdown. But I think that you can kind of understand why I'm talking about this fight for so long, because it's so important. Like, the winner of this fight, what do they do? If Ismail Bonfim wins, he's going to be 18-3. If Nurmagomedov wins, he's going to be 29-3. What do you do? Like, do you give them like a top 30 opponent straight away, or do you build them up from there? I don't really know. But another thing is, as I said, yeah, there is low output out of Bonfim. I will note that. I was seeing some very low output, but he times his shots well. He's very technical. I don't believe he's going to get drawn into a brawl from Abasov. I think I'm rambling a lot here, but I feel like there's a lot of good points in the ramble. You know, I've done so much research on this fight. I feel like there's so many points in my brain that I've got to say. And I think I've covered it all. And mainly just the fact that Nariman Abasov's striking is not very technical. It's very sloppy. I'm not super impressed by the technique at all. As all he throws, and Ismail Bonfim, this guy's a technical striker. This guy's got Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This guy's got great takedown defense. And Nariman Abasov, even then, he's got pretty bad takedown defense, and he slows down towards the end of the fight as well. Like, I know it was a pretty high-paced fight, but even then he was slowing down a little bit in the second round of the tape that I was showing you guys, and then even then in a few of his fights that have lasted a long time. He does tend to slow down quite a bit towards the end, and I like Ismail Bonfim to keep the pressure up, to keep the same pace from the first round to the third round. So let me pick Ismail Bonfim here. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people disagreeing with me, but I like Bonfim. I really am interested to see what the betting odds are going to be on this fight, and yeah, I think it's going to be great. I really do. So yeah, let me pick Ismail Bonfim to win this fight. I think that he's going to win. And now we move on to Jimmy Lawson taking on Kevin Slavarsky. I'm so sorry if I said the name wrong, but I'm going to be picking Kevin Slavarsky in this one here, but I'm going to say it right now. There's no winners in this matchup for predictors like me, because if I pick Jimmy Lawson, Kevin Slavarsky probably wins dominantly, but if I pick Kevin Slavarsky, Jimmy Lawson probably wins by KO in the first minute of the fight. I mean, I'm not too sure how it's gonna go, because I could be picking Kevin Slavarsky and give you all the reasons why I am, which I will. And then Jimmy Lawson, which this is his record right now, he's on a 3-fight KO streak, and all of those fights have lasted less than a minute. In total, really. I mean, quick maths, that is over a minute right there. But anyway, he's literally spent a minute in the cage, more or less, in his last 3 fights, and he's won them all by KO. Now, Jimmy Lawson, he is a D1 wrestler, and he is from Penn State, the same state that Bo Nickel is from. But I've only ever seen him land one takedown in his whole MMA career, which is interesting. And but to be fair to him, it is because he's too busy beating his opponents to a pulp. But this guy's just MMA experience in general isn't at the same amount as Kevin Slavarsky, who is a very good prospect in my opinion. This guy went 9-0 as an amateur, picking up an IMMAF World Championship in there somewhere in 2015, or at least competing in the World Champs. I don't know if you won it against a guy that was debuting. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, but yeah, he's got good competition, I guess, in the amateur leagues, albeit over debuting guys. So a lot of question marks there, but the point is there is experience there for sure. And then when he debuted, he lost by injury, and he's been undefeated since then. He hasn't been fighting the greatest competition, to be fair, but since then he's picked it up a little bit, man. And this guy, I like it. I like the fact that he's skilled. He's very skilled for a heavyweight. He does have somewhat decent footwork for a guy that is 6'6". He's got a good jab on him. He's super long. He's got an 81-inch reach compared to Jimmy Lawson, who does have a 79-inch reach, to be fair. But Kevin Slavarsky is 6'6". and he's a big guy. He can keep the fight on the feet if he wants it. He does have good takedown defense, but Jimmy Lawson might be able to test him with that wrestling if we see him go to it. And even then, we've seen a good, well-rounded skill set out of Slavich as well in his career. We've seen him win a couple of times by submission, 5 times by submission, in fact. So this guy can get a submission if he wants to. He can even drag it out to a decision if he wants to as well, which is somewhat rare to see in a heavyweight. But I think that Kevin Slavich is just a much more skilled MMA fighter out of the two. I think Jimmy Lawson is obviously going to have a bit of a wrestling advantage, but Slavich in his career has shown some pretty good takedown defense. And even then, as I said, Jimmy Lawson, he starts fast, he throws bombs, and I think there's a very good chance this guy does catch Kevin Slavich. Makes me look like a complete fool. I mean, the thing is, like, I researched Cedric Hayes Dumas versus Matej Pinaz a lot, and that fight was over within a minute, and it's like, man, like, all that research for 1 minute of fight. But yeah, I picked Dumas, but anyway, that's completely off topic. The point is, I'm picking Kevin Slavich. I think he's the more skilled fighter out of the two. He's got a good jab. He can keep the fight at range if he wants to. He's got submission threat as well, even if the fight does get to the mat. I think Jimmy Lawson, if he gets the fight down and he ends up on top and he stays on top, he could definitely find a win there. He could definitely find a win by KO in the first 30 seconds like he has in his last couple of fights. But I think that Kevin Slavich, as I said, just the more skilled, more experienced heavyweight out of the two, and I think they should be able to get the job done. The winner gets signed, I almost guarantee it. The UFC needs heavyweights. They've literally got like 40 heavyweights on their roster. I think even less than that maybe. They need heavyweights. Winner gets signed, no questions asked for sure. So yeah, I think Kevin Slavich should be a pretty good addition to the roster as well. 6'6" heavyweight. That's a tall guy, man. So let's see what he can do in this fight. And now you've got Gabriel Bontemps taking on Trey the Truth Waters. And I think this could be a pretty good fight. Trey Waters is taking this fight on very short notice. I want to say this is like 1 week notice, maybe even like a week and a half notice a fight for Trey Waters. The original fight was meant to be Gabriel Bontemps versus Felix Klinkhammer. I was picking Gabriel Bontemps to win that fight. I did a bit of research on that fight. Felix, by pulling out, man, you ruined me with that one. But anyway, I've done a little bit of research on this fight, but not as much as I did on the Klinkhammer fight. But I was picking Bontemps to win that fight, if I didn't say that already. I think Bontemps the real deal. He really is, but I'm going to give Trey Waters his respect. He took the fight on short notice, which I always respect when people do that. And he got a great win over Benjamin Bennett in his last fight too. And Benjamin Bennett, he was winning the fight. He was finding a lot of success on the feet against Trey Waters. But this guy is a prospect that I think that a lot of people were having their eye on. I think that LFA were at least trying to build him up a little bit, and it was almost working, man. This guy's the 2017 IMMAF World Champion. As an amateur, he was 18-4 as an amateur. His only losses as an amateur as well were to Alex Martinez, who is now in the PFL, William Starks, Brendan Allen, who's making a good run in the UFC. William Starks is a name that I somewhat recognise. I think he's on a losing streak right now, though. No, he's coming off 1 loss in LFA, but maybe he could bounce back. I'm getting sidetracked, I apologise. But anyway, the point is Benjamin Bennett is a very legitimate prospect that Trey Waters knocked out. He really did. But he was losing the fight before that happened, and Benjamin Bennett was having a lot of success on the feet. And I think that if Benjamin Bennett can have success on the feet, I think Bontemps can have success on the feet. This guy, he's very well known, in my opinion, for his jiu-jitsu. He does have a few submission wins on his record. 9 wins by submission, 3 wins by a KO, 12-0, 12 finishes. What more can you really ask for? But he's a national boxing champion as Bontemps. He's a national amateur boxing champion, just like his brother, who was also fighting on the card as Mal Bontemps. Both really good technical strikers, both really good technical grapplers as well. They've both got great jiu-jitsu, both the Bontemps brothers. But Gabriel Bontemps, really good striking, really good jiu-jitsu as well. I think that he's going to beat Trey Waters on the feet for the most part. If the fight gets to the ground, I think Bontemps should beat him too. Sorry for that. Hopefully that didn't sound really loud, but I'm going to be picking Bontemps by finish. A lot of people picking Bontemps. I think that's a very good pick in my opinion, man. I really do think that Bontemps should be able to beat a very short notice replacement in Trey Waters. Respect to Trey Waters, he's got a great win on his record in Benjamin Bennett, but I think that Bontemps is just the better fighter. This guy's a crazy good prospect at 25 years old. If the UFC signed him, man, he could go on to do some great things. But yeah, I like the fight. I think it's great, but I do think that Gabriel Bontemps. And now you've got the main event, Hadolfo Bellato taking on Vito Petrini, a rematch from a 2019 fight where the debuting Vito Petrini knocked out Hadolfo Bellato in 25 seconds. Crazy, man. Like, he was debuting against a 5-0 guy and knocked him out in 25 seconds, and now he's got to fight him again. That's madness. But yeah, since then, Vito Petrini's gone on a pretty good run. I did actually say in my Dana White's Contender Series preview prediction video, probably like 6 months ago, Vito Petrini was one of the guys that I predicted to make it on the show, and he's made it on the show against Hadolfo Bellato. I never thought that we would see a rematch on Dana White's Contender Series. I'm not too sure if it's been done before, but Hadolfo Bellato is good. In fact, Hadolfo Bellato is so good, I have almost no confidence in my pick. Either way, it's so tough. It's so tough because it's not as black and white as Vito Petrini won the first fight. He's gonna win it again because if Hadolfo Bellato gets this fight to the ground, the fight is over. The fight is over. Ground and pound TKO, in my opinion, for Bellato could happen. Submission could happen as well. Like, this isn't a joke that we're talking about here. Hadolfo Bellato has incredibly good grappling, especially compared to Vito Petrini, in my opinion, who's just a striker. He's the better striker. He's the more powerful, explosive striker out of the two. But Hadolfo Bellato is the much better grappler, and Bellato is also training out Team Nayara as well, at least according to his Tapology page. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm coming out here and I'm saying that I'm not confident in this fight, and I'm not gonna claim to be confident in this fight at all. But I'm gonna decide with Vito Petrini here because he won the first fight. I think that is a very important mindset thing in this fight here. Hadolfo Bellato is only 26 years old though, so he definitely got a chance to come back. But I think at least coming into this fight, Vito Petrini is going to be thinking, I knocked this guy out before, I can do it again. Hadolfo Bellato might be coming into this fight thinking, this guy knocked me out before, I need to be careful on the feet, this and that. But then maybe because with that mindset, he might just take Vito Petrini down straight away. Yeah, I think if Hadolfo Bellato gets this fight to the mat, I think the fight is over by submission or ground and pound for Bellato. But I think as long as the fight is standing, Vito Petrini is so aggressive, he's so explosive, that I think they should be able to potentially find the KO. I'm really interested to know what the odds are, because if Bellato is an underdog, that's pretty live, man. That's really live. I'm just so unsure how this is gonna go, but I'm gonna go with Vito Petrini in this matchup here. I think he should win by KO again, but it's so, as I said, guys, it's not an easy fight to predict by any measure, by any stretch of the imagination. Should you be super confident on either side, of my opinion, because as I said, the fight goes to the ground, Bellato takes it, he really does. But I'm gonna go with the undefeated guy. I'm gonna go with the guy that won the first fight in Vito Petrini. I think he's gonna get the job done by KO again, probably in the first round. Nervous, man, nervous. I really am. But yeah, thank you so much for watching the video, man. It's a great card. It's a really great card, and a card that I'm really looking forward to. So, if you made it this far, you're gonna find out something very exciting that will be happening later this weekend. After the UFC Paris card, me and Artem MMA, we're gonna team up for the first time, and we're gonna talk about this card together. I think it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one, man. I really love this Dana White's Contender Series card. It is brilliant.